My girlfriend emotionally cheated and spent Christmas with her ex while I planned to propose, until one unexpected move shattered everything she trusted. I'm 27, male, and work in project management for a mid-size company in Ohio. I've been living in the same city since college because why leave when you have a decent job in your own place? I also have a decent truck that's paid off. It's not the most exciting existence, but I'm stable and comfortable. The Silverado was my first real adult purchase. I bought it used from a farmer who had babied it like his firstborn. The thing had 40,000 miles and a spotless maintenance record. I spent my first weekend installing a tonneau cover and upgrading the sound system because stock speakers sounded like they were underwater. After a string of relationships that crashed and burned, apparently being too serious is worse than being a man-child. I had basically given up on dating. I was focusing on work, hitting the gym, and restoring a 1987 Camaro I bought off Craigslist. Then my buddy Jake threw a barbecue in summer 2021. And I met Andrea. This girl was everything I thought I wanted, an art teacher at the local elementary school with a laugh that could stop traffic, wearing sundresses that actually fit properly. We clicked immediately. She thought it was attractive that I had my life together, owned furniture that wasn't from IKEA, and could plan a date that didn't involve splitting an appetizer at Applebee's. For once, someone appreciated the responsible adult thing instead of calling it boring. Dating Andrea felt different from the start. We talked about real future stuff. She mentioned wanting to meet my extended family, asked about my lease renewal, and even joked about me needing a bigger place for when we moved in together. She got excited about the Camaro project, which shocked me. Most girls I dated rolled their eyes when I talked about cars, but Andrea would bring me coffee while I worked in the garage and ask questions about what I was doing. She even helped me sand rust spots off the quarter panels, wearing cute overalls she'd borrowed from her mom. Her parents loved me from day one. Her dad, Steve, a retired firefighter, was a total old school guy who taught me how to properly season a cast iron pan and let me help rebuild his 1976 Corvette engine. We spent Sunday afternoons working in his garage, drinking Budweiser and talking about everything from football to power tools. The dude became like a father to me. Steve's garage was automotive heaven, organized like a surgical suite with every tool labeled and hung in its proper place. He had a lift installed so he could work underneath cars properly and a compressor setup that could power pneumatic tools all day. He inherited most of his father's tools from the 1950s. Heavy American-made pieces that would probably outlast a nuclear war. He taught me to rebuild carburetors and adjust valves while sharing stories about fighting fires and raising kids. Her mom, Grace, treated me like the son she never had. Always sending me home with containers of leftovers, texting me links to articles she thought I'd find interesting and asking my opinion on everything from what color to paint the guest room to which lawnmower Steve should buy. When Andrea and I visited for dinner, Grace would shoo her daughter away to show me her tomato garden or ask about my job. Grace had a massive vegetable garden she treated like a science experiment. Row after row of perfectly organized plants with detailed charts tracking growth rates and harvest dates. She'd quiz me about soil pH and irrigation systems like I was studying for finals. She packed me food to take home, taught me her canning techniques so I could preserve vegetables for winter, and even let me help redesign her greenhouse layout using my project management skills. They constantly told Andrea how lucky she was, how I was one of the good ones. Steve dropped hints about marriage, and Grace made comments about how their future grandchildren would be well taken care of. I genuinely loved these people. By October 2022, I was ready to propose. I had a $7,500 ring hidden in my sock drawer. The plan was Christmas dinner at their house, proposing during dessert with both families there, then celebrating. Everything was mapped out perfectly. Come November, I went full Christmas movie mode. My family always went hard on holidays, so it felt natural to start planning early. Plus, this was our first Christmas as a serious couple heading toward engagement. I had to make it count. I started coordinating schedules in early November. Made dinner reservations at a steakhouse Andrea mentioned wanting to try. I bought a green sweater because she said I looked good in that color and planned the timing for gift exchanges so nothing would feel rushed. The steakhouse was a place called The Refinery that she'd mentioned after seeing it on a food blogger's Instagram. I made reservations for 7 o'clock post-meridium on Christmas Eve, a prime time slot I had to call 3 times to secure. I asked for their best table with a view of the city lights and told them it was for a special occasion. Then I went into detective mode for the gifts. During Thanksgiving dinner, Grace mentioned her grandmother's china pattern exactly once, wishing she could find more pieces to complete the set. It took me 3 weeks, hitting up antique shops across 2 counties, but I tracked down 4 matching pieces. Steve casually mentioned a book about firefighting history during dinner just in passing. I spent another week hunting down a first edition copy online. For Andrea, I saved for months to get her a professional art supply set she kept bookmarking but would never buy herself, a Prismacolor Premiere set with about 200 different pencils and brushes. It cost nearly $1,000, but watching her eyes light up would have made it worthwhile. I had backup plans for everything. What if it snowed and we couldn't drive to her parents' place? What if the restaurant lost our reservation? What if her family schedule changed? Looking back, maybe I went overboard, but that's how I show I care. I pay attention to details, remember stuff, and plan ahead so nothing goes wrong. Early December, the wheels started coming off. The first red flag came when I showed Andrea the china pieces I'd found for her mom. I was excited about tracking down these impossible to find pieces and laid them out on my kitchen table like a treasure hunter showing off his loot. She barely glanced up from her phone. Just said, "Oh yeah, that's nice." Like I'd shown her a grocery receipt. "Your mom's going to lose her mind when she sees these," I said, trying to get a reaction. She mumbled, still scrolling Instagram. I brushed it off. She said work was stressing her out with parent-teacher conferences and holiday programs. Work stress seemed legit at first. Teaching elementary school during December is like herding cats hopped up on candy canes and Christmas excitement. She'd come over after work looking drained, complaining about helicopter parents and impossible deadlines for holiday performances. I'd make her dinner and let her vent about administrative nonsense while she graded papers at my kitchen table. I figured the phone obsession was her way of decompressing. Then she started mentioning Jensen, an old college friend who had moved back to town for a startup job. At first, it was innocent, like, "Oh, Jensen thinks I should travel more." Or, "Jensen says this town is too small for creative people." Whatever. People reconnect with old friends all the time. But then it became every conversation. Jensen this, Jensen that. Jensen thinks I should take more risks with my art. Jensen says small towns are dream killers. Jensen has crazy stories from living in Chicago. The dude worked for a pretentious coffee company that sold artisanal blends to hipster cafes. The kind of guy who probably had strong opinions about pour-over techniques and owned more flannel shirts than a lumberjack. Andrea kept talking about his creative energy and how he'd traveled to 6 countries before turning 30. She started making comments about how she'd never been anywhere outside Ohio. I'm not usually the jealous type, but something felt off. She'd be on her phone constantly during dinner, giving vague answers when I asked about her day. She started saying she was hanging out with friends instead of being specific about who or where. When I tried to confirm our Christmas dinner reservations on December 15th, she hit me with, "Maybe we should keep things flexible this year." Flexible how? Just not so structured, more spontaneous. Red flags everywhere. But I figured she was just stressed about the holidays. Boy, was I wrong. On December 22nd, the atomic bomb dropped. 3 days before Christmas, I'm in my living room doing final gift wrapping, organized by family member, like a Christmas logistics coordinator. Her parents' gifts were in one pile, my family's in another, hers front and center. That's when she walked in with the "we need to talk" face. I'm thinking maybe she wants to adjust the schedule, leave an hour earlier, or switch the gift exchange order. Nope. She sat on my couch and said, "I'm bringing Jensen to Christmas dinner instead of you." I stopped mid-wrap. The ribbon fell out of my hands like in a cheesy rom-com. I had to ask her to repeat it because my brain couldn't process it. "What did you just say?" "I know this is terrible timing, but Jensen and I have been talking," she said, taking a shaky breath. God, I don't know how to say this without sounding awful. "Well, you're off to a great start. Try anyway. Things between us have felt so structured, like we're following a predetermined blueprint instead of just living. With Jensen, everything feels more natural, more alive." I set down the gift I was wrapping. Ironically, hers. 3 days before Christmas after I've been planning this for months. I know it's cruel timing. I've been trying to find the right moment to tell you, but there never was one. Her voice cracked like she was the victim. "You put so much thought into everything. The gifts, the reservations, the way you remember every little thing my family says. It should make me feel loved, but instead it makes me feel trapped. Trapped by someone caring about you? Trapped by someone planning every moment of our future before I've decided what I want it to look like?" She's tearing up now, pushing through like it's a rehearsed speech. "Jensen doesn't do that. He lives in the moment. He makes me feel like I can breathe." Then she dropped the real nuke. "And honestly, I saw the ring box in your drawer last week. I know what you're planning for Christmas dinner." I froze. "You went through my stuff?" "I was looking for a phone charger and I saw it. Sam, I'm only 25. I'm way too young to get engaged. Can you imagine how awkward it would have been if I had to reject you in front of both families at dinner? I'm doing you a favor here." "A favor?" "Yes. Can you imagine how humiliating that would have been for both of us? This way, we can save face and nobody has to watch a proposal get shot down in front of the turkey. Right. Very thoughtful of you. She's full on crying now. You're being sarcastic, but I'm trying to spare your feelings. Jensen doesn't pressure me about the future. He just wants to enjoy what we have right now. And what about the gifts? The reservations? Your family expecting me? I'll handle my family. They'll understand. And honestly, maybe this is for the best. We clearly want different things, Sam. I need someone who doesn't have our entire life mapped out on a spreadsheet. I could have fought for her, pointed out she seemed happy with my planning until Captain Spontaneous showed up, begged her to wait until after Christmas, or asked why she was sabotaging what we built. But something in me snapped. I stood up, gathered the gifts I bought for her family, set them on the coffee table, and said, "Give these to your parents. They deserve Christmas gifts, even if I won't be there to watch them open them." She's looking at me like I'm a robot. "Sam, you're making this harder than it needs to be." "Nah, I'm making it exactly as hard as it needs to be." I went to my bedroom, got her overnight bag from my closet, the one with her spare clothes and toiletries, and handed it to her. I opened the front door and held it. "Can we try to stay friends?" she asked, clutching her bag. I just looked at her. "You made your choice, Andrea. I'm not going to argue or help you feel better about screwing me over." More crying, but not the "I made a mistake" kind. The frustrated "this isn't going according to my script" kind. "Yeah, welcome to the club." After she left, I sat staring for 10 minutes before my brain kicked back in. I called my best friend Liam and said, "I need to get out of here." "Dude, what happened? You sound like someone just told you they're making another Matrix sequel." "Andrea dumped me 3 days before Christmas for Jensen." Dead silence. "The college douchebag with the man bun who works at that pretentious coffee startup? Are you kidding me right now?" 20 minutes later, I'm at Liam's apartment with an overnight bag. The guy's got his gaming setup ready and a cooler full of Mountain Dew, like he's preparing for a breakup war room operation. Christmas at Liam's was better than expected. "So, let me get this straight," Liam said while booting up Call of Duty. "Princess Spontaneous couldn't handle dating an actual adult, so she traded you for Walmart Ryan Gosling? She said I was too structured, planned everything too much." "Yeah, God forbid someone remembers her birthday and doesn't live in his mom's basement eating Hot Pockets." Liam handed me a controller. "Did you tell her about the ring?" "She found it in my drawer, said she was doing me a favor by dumping me before I could propose." Liam paused the game and stared. "Wait, what the hell? Are you serious?" "Her exact words?" "Her exact words. Bro, I've heard some delusional stuff, but that's Hall of Fame level crazy." He unpaused and immediately got sniped by a 12-year-old. "You know what this means, right? You dodged a bullet the size of the Death Star. Imagine marrying someone who thinks caring about her is a character flaw." Liam's place was a bachelor pad museum, a massive 75-inch television mounted on the wall, gaming chairs that looked like they belonged in race cars, and enough consoles to stock a Best Buy. His kitchen consisted of a microwave, a mini fridge, and a coffee maker, because why overcomplicate things? The dude had his priorities straight and zero shame about living like a grown-up kid who paid his own bills. We spent Christmas Eve gaming and eating pizza rolls while trash-talking random kids online. Every time I got in my head about the situation, Liam dropped a ridiculous comment about Andrea or a joke that cracked me up despite everything. "You know what's going to be hilarious?" he said around 2 o'clock anti-meridian while we were getting destroyed in a battle royale. "She's going to spend Christmas explaining to her family why you got replaced by a guy whose biggest accomplishment is probably running a juice cleanse Instagram account." That made me laugh. Her dad's going to hate him. Dude, Steve's going to eat that pretentious hipster alive. I give it 2 hours before he starts asking Jensen about his 5-year plan just to watch him squirm. Christmas morning, I woke up early out of habit, made coffee, and went for a long walk around Liam's neighborhood. I called my parents, who weren't even surprised about the breakup. "She always seemed like she was looking for something else," my mom said. "Like you were a placeholder until something more exciting came along." "Thanks for the heads up, Mom." My phone started blowing up around noon on Christmas Day. First, it was Andrea. "My mom keeps asking where you are, and I don't know what to tell her." Then, "Jensen is trying his best, but he doesn't understand our family traditions." By evening, the tea set you got my mom made her cry. She said it was the most thoughtful gift she'd ever received. Her parents started texting me directly around dinner time. "Steve, Sam, Grace and I are furious with Andrea for what she did to you. You didn't deserve this garbage. The gifts you got us are incredible, and we're heartbroken you're not here. You'll always be family to us." Grace sent a whole paragraph. "Sweetheart, I don't understand what got into our daughter. You're family to us and always will be. This Jensen boy is rude and arrogant, and we told Andrea exactly how we feel about this whole situation. We love you, and we're so sorry. They sent pictures of Grace using the tea set and Steve reading his book, clearly trying to show Andrea what she'd thrown away. Steve's follow-up included a photo of him giving Jensen the stink eye across the dinner table while the dude tried to explain why he didn't eat meat. Apparently, Captain Spontaneous was also Captain Vegan, which went over about as well as you'd expect with a retired firefighter who considered a meal incomplete without 2 kinds of protein. The final text of the night was from Andrea. I think I might have made a mistake. Can we please talk after the holidays? I read every message, started typing responses, deleted them, and put my phone on airplane mode. She made her choice, and I wasn't about to help her feel better about it. 2 weeks later, she called me around 11 o'clock post-meridium on a Tuesday, her voice raw and desperate, like she'd been crying for hours. Sam, I need to talk to you. Jensen left. Okay. He said he was just having fun over the holidays and didn't want anything serious. He's going back to Chicago. Her voice cracked. I threw away everything we had for someone who was just messing around. Shocking, absolutely no one except you. Please don't be cruel. I'm falling apart here and you're just cold. What did you expect? You chose the guy who lives in the moment over the guy who planned ahead. Turns out living in the moment means he wasn't planning to stick around. Apparently, Jensen had been upfront about his intentions if she'd bothered to listen. He was in town for 6 weeks to launch a pop-up coffee concept, then headed back to his real life in Chicago with no intention of staying or building anything permanent. She kept calling for weeks, leaving increasingly desperate voicemails. Her friends started hitting me up, too, like an intervention squad. First, Jessica, Andrea's really struggling, and she misses you so much. She knows she made a huge mistake and has learned from it. Then, Madison, she's been crying every day since New Year's. Can't you just talk to her? She needs closure. You're being so cruel and unreasonable. Meanwhile, Liam sent screenshots of her Instagram posts with commentary like, damn, someone discovered the deep quote section on Pinterest. Is this the same chick who said you were suffocating her? Because she's looking pretty suffocated by her own drama right now. Her social media became a cringe fest of sad quotes about realizing what you had when it's gone and pictures of herself looking contemplative in coffee shops. Classic pick-me energy that had me and Liam cracking up. The best part? Liam commented on one of her feeling lost and alone in this big world posts with, maybe try a global positioning system and a dating app. I nearly choked on my drink. By March, the call stopped. I heard through mutual friends that she'd moved back in with her parents and started therapy. Honestly, good for her. I hope she figured out what was broken inside that made her blow up her life. Meanwhile, I threw myself into living instead of planning to live. I started taking photography classes on weekends which led to solo trips around Ohio, hitting state parks and small towns. I hit the gym more often. The photography classes were at a community college downtown taught by an old school photographer who worked for newspapers when that was a real job. I learned to shoot manual mode on my grandfather's ancient Nikon that had been collecting dust in my closet. I started documenting the Camaro restoration, which turned into a portfolio about American muscle cars and working class pride. A few prints were even selected for a local art show. Work was going great, too. My project management skills, which Andrea found suffocating, got me promoted. Turns out being organized and thinking ahead were valuable in the real world. The promotion came with a nice salary bump and an office with actual windows. I started leading bigger projects, coordinating subcontractors for commercial developments, and managing timelines for shopping centers. The real win? I pulled the trigger on something I'd wanted for years, a 2018 Harley Sportster. It was beat up but had good bones. I spent weekends in Liam's garage tearing it down and rebuilding it piece by piece. You know what they call a motorcycle that won't start? Liam said one Saturday while I was rebuilding the carburetor, a really expensive paperweight with trust issues. Kind of like my dating life, but louder. Liam with his lame jokes. There's something therapeutic about working with your hands. Every time I fired up that engine, I felt like I was reclaiming something Andrea tried to take from me, the confidence to be myself. I started hanging out with the boys more often, hitting a sports bar downtown, playing pool, and watching March Madness. It felt good to be around people who didn't overthink everything or analyze my personality for flaws. That's when I met Celeste through a hiking group. She was the opposite of Andrea in every way that mattered. Where Andrea was impulsive and flighty, Celeste was thoughtful and grounded. Where Andrea was always looking for the next adventure, Celeste appreciated building something solid. Most importantly, she liked the stuff about me that Andrea found overwhelming. I love how you remember things, she told me when planning our third date. It makes me feel like I actually matter to you. Celeste chose a career based on helping people instead of chasing abstract creative fulfillment. She grew up on a farm outside Columbus, knew how to fix things, and understood the value of hard work and planning ahead. The girl could back up a truck, change a tire, and cook a meal that didn't come from a box. Plus, she thought the Harley was badass and wanted to learn to ride. Our first Christmas together, she was excited about doing it right. "I want to meet your family, and I want you to meet mine," she said while we were picking out a tree. "My family does everything last minute, and I've always wanted to experience what it's like when someone actually plans ahead." "Are you sure?" "I tend to go overboard with holiday planning," she laughed and kissed me. "Promise me you will." We're at Target buying decorations when my phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number. "Hey, it's Andrea. I know it's been a while, but I wanted to reach out. I'm doing much better now, and I was hoping we could talk. Maybe grab coffee and catch up." I showed Celeste the message. She read it and asked, "Do you want to respond?" I thought about it for 2 seconds. Nope. I deleted it and went back to debating between silver and gold garland. "Good choice," Celeste said. "The gold will look better with your couch anyway." Then came the holiday party ambush. Our mutual friend Jake throws a holiday party every year. Celeste and I showed up fashionably late, feeling good about life. Then I saw her across the room. Andrea standing by the punch bowl, looking smaller than I remembered, checking her phone every 30 seconds like she's waiting for an Uber. Celeste spotted her immediately. "Is that her?" "Yep. And she looks about as lost as I expected." I'm talking to Jake about his new job when I feel someone approach. I turn around and there's Andrea with a forced smile, holding her drink like a shield. "Sam, I didn't know you'd be here tonight. You look really good, healthy." I put my arm around Celeste's waist. "Hey, Andrea, this is Celeste, my girlfriend." Celeste extended her hand with a genuine smile. "Hi, Andrea. I know Sam mentioned you two had history. It's nice to meet you." Andrea ignored Celeste's outstretched hand and looked her up and down. "Right, Celeste?" she said like she was tasting something bitter. "I've been thinking about us lately, Sam. About what we had together. All those plans we made. That was a long time ago, Andrea. I've moved on. Don't you miss it? The way we used to be? The way you planned everything for us?" She's looking directly at me, cutting Celeste out like she's invisible. Celeste jumped in, clearly proud. "Oh, Sam's been amazing. He's working with my mom to perfect her grandmother's prime rib recipe for Christmas dinner, and he found incredible gifts for my nieces and nephews. I don't know how he keeps track of what they love, but it's one of the things I adore about him." Andrea's face went through 5 emotions: surprise, anger, jealousy, rage, before settling on pure venom. "How nice for you," she said to Celeste with a fake, sweet voice. "It's so easy to appreciate someone when you haven't had to deal with their obsessive need to control everything yet. Give it time." "Excuse me," Celeste said, stepping forward. "Please," Andrea said, composure cracking as she turned to me. "Can we talk privately without her?" "No," I interrupted. "Have a good time, Andrea. You can't be serious right now. You're really going to choose her over what we had?" "I already did 13 months ago when you made the choice for me. But I know now I made a mistake. I was young and scared and stupid." Her voice got louder, more desperate, heads turning. "You can't just replace me with some random girl." As Celeste and I walked toward the exit, I turned back one last time. "Next time you find someone who plans Christmas around you, maybe don't wait until 3 days before to tell them they're uninvited to their own proposal." She lost it, screaming across the party loud enough to stop every conversation. "Are you serious right now? You're just going to walk away after everything we had?" The party went dead silent. Celeste squeezed my hand and we kept walking. Andrea wasn't done. "She doesn't even know you like I do. She's just some rebound who'll never understand what we had." Her friends Jessica and Madison rushed over, grabbing her arms to drag her toward the door. "Andrea, stop. You're making a scene," Jessica hissed. "I don't care. He's making a huge mistake and everyone here knows it." As they dragged her out, Madison shot us a dirty look and said loud enough for half the party to hear, "Wow, real classy, Sam. Bringing this random girl just to hurt Andrea. You actually downgraded, in case no one told you." Celeste squeezed my hand as we walked to my truck. "Well, that was more dramatic than I expected." "For me or for her?" "Definitely for her. She looked like she was watching her entire future walk away." "Maybe she was, but that's not my problem anymore." The rest of the party was great once the drama cleared out. We made plans for New Year's Eve, talked about vacation destinations, and enjoyed being with someone who wanted to be there. Fast forward to summer, and life was better than I could have imagined. The Harley restoration was complete. Liam and I turned that beat-up Sportster into something magazine-worthy. Every Saturday we'd cruise Ohio, hitting small towns and dive bars, enjoying the freedom. You know what's funny? Liam said one weekend as we grabbed lunch in some unpronounceable town. A year ago, you were planning Christmas dinner with Crazy, and now you're out here living like a Springsteen song. Character development, bro. Celeste moved into my place around April, and it was seamless. The girl could cook like she went to culinary school, wanted to hit the gym with me, and never complained when I disappeared to work on the bike or hang with the boys. She'd smile and say, "Have fun, babe." Then post a cute story about loving to watch me in my element. Her Instagram was a shrine to our relationship, but in a good way. Pictures of us hiking, me working on the Harley, us cooking together on weekends. She'd caption them, "Watching this man follow his passions makes me fall in love all over again." Her friends commented about how lucky she was to find someone with his life together. Then things got weird again. Andrea had been stalking our social media from fake accounts for months. Celeste started getting strange messages from random profiles with no photos. Nothing directly threatening, just passive-aggressive stuff like, "Enjoy it while it lasts." And, "Some people steal others' happiness instead of finding their own." The fake accounts were amateur, obviously created to spy on us. One messaged Celeste, pretending to be concerned about my history with commitment issues and suggesting she ask me about what happened with my ex. Celeste screenshotted everything and showed me, laughing about how pathetic it was. Then Andrea escalated to real-world crazy, showing up at my work, standing in the parking lot, staring at the building like a rejected rom-com protagonist. Security escorted her off company property twice. She called my coworkers, asking them to talk sense into me about making a huge mistake. Our office has security cameras everywhere, so we had footage of her sitting in her car for hours watching the entrance. Building security started recognizing her vehicle and called me whenever she showed up. My boss asked if I needed time off to deal with a personal situation, which was embarrassing as hell. Here I was trying to maintain a professional reputation while my ex turned my workplace into her surveillance headquarters. She even called Liam. "Dude, your psycho ex called me last night. He told me while we were working on his car. Wanted me to convince you Celeste isn't right for you and you're making a terrible decision." "What exactly did she say?" "Oh, the usual crazy stuff. That Celeste doesn't know you. You're just rebounding. You'll realize your mistake when the honeymoon phase ends." He grinned. So, I told her, at least Celeste doesn't need a restraining order to understand boundaries. The final straw was when she started harassing Celeste online, using fake Instagram accounts to leave comments on our engagement photos, calling Celeste a placeholder and a rebound. Her friends Jessica and Madison joined in, commenting with crying emojis, and this won't last messages like middle schoolers. Then she started leaving gifts on my porch. Pathetic white roses with notes like, "Remembering what we had and, some love never dies." Celeste was freaked out and honestly so was I. Time to lawyer up. I got a restraining order that told her to stay 500 feet away from me, Celeste, my house, my job, and anywhere we might reasonably be. I thought that would be the end of it. I was wrong. One Friday night in late February 2024, we were at my place, me, Celeste, and Liam, having an epic Mario Kart tournament. Celeste was destroying us and talking trash like she was born for competitive gaming. That's when we heard pounding on my front door. "Sam, I know you're in there." Andrea, drunk as hell from the sound of it. "Celeste is not better than me. You're making the biggest mistake of your life." I'm reaching for my phone to call the cops when Liam grabbed the intercom. "Hold up. Let me handle this. I've been waiting for this moment." He keyed the intercom. "Yo, Andrea, it's Liam. Remember me? Your ex's best friend who warned him about you from day one." "Liam, get Sam out here right now." "Nah, Sam's busy being happy. But hey, thanks for proving my point about you being completely unhinged. I'm not leaving until he talks to me." "Cool, the cops should be here in about 5 minutes, so you might want to work on your cardio, unless orange jumpsuits are your thing." Celeste was filming the exchange, partly for evidence and partly because Liam's roasting session was legendary. "Oh, and Andrea," Liam continued, enjoying himself. "Next time you want to drunk dial someone at midnight, maybe try ordering pizza instead. At least then someone would actually want to deliver to your address." By the time the police arrived, she was sitting on my porch steps, sobbing and rambling about how she just wanted to talk and explain everything. They arrested her for violating the restraining order, public intoxication, and disturbing the peace. As they loaded her into the cruiser, she screamed about how Celeste stole her life and how I used to be different. The neighbors were outside watching this train wreck unfold like dinner theater. Liam looked at us as the police car drove away and said, "Well, that was loud." Anyone want pizza? I never heard from her again after that night. I heard through the grapevine she moved to Portland and started fresh. I hope she figured out what was broken inside that made her think destroying someone else's happiness would fix her own problems. Celeste and I are getting married this coming summer. I proposed with the same ring I bought for Andrea, but this time for someone who deserved it. Liam's my best man, and his speech will probably include a 5-minute roast of my questionable taste in ex-girlfriends that'll have the entire wedding cracking up. My restored Harley will be our getaway vehicle. Celeste in her wedding dress riding behind me on a motorcycle will probably be the coolest moment of my existence. Sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's just living well and finding someone who appreciates the same things about you that others tried to tear.